Folks, one of the things that makes this job that I get to do so rewarding is that I get to come on this program and I get to share laughs both with the people in the studio and, of course, with you, the audience. We get to pull out that long, pointy stick and the marshmallows, and we just get to toast them over the fiery wake of the blitzkrieg-ridden social norms that we enjoy so much today. But today I'm going to tamp down the laugh track just a little bit because I think the situation I'm about to describe warrants a touch of solemnity and a little bit of concern. You ever heard of rainbow fentanyl? I mean, just when they couldn't come up with enough ways to kill you. Rainbow fentanyl. Now, if you haven't heard of it, it's probably not what you're thinking. This isn't the new sponsor for Pride Month, folks. It's actually a whole lot worse than that. Now, last week, the DEA announced that they're finding fentanyl in pills that look like colorful candy. And I don't mean the legal fentanyl, by the way. This ain't prescription candy. This is stuff that's being seized and which seems to be marketed illegally to, any guesses? You got it, children. So the DEA tested these pills and discovered that there was a bunch of them that were laced with methamphetamines and animal tranquilizers as well. And when I say they're being marketed to kids, understand something. Some of them are literally chewable tablets like children's vitamins. Now, that's Washington, D.C., and I want you to put a pin in that for just a moment. I want to come back. Now, travel down to Nogales Port of Entry in Arizona, where also last week, authorities found and seized 15,000 pills of exactly the same description. They look like candy. And by the way, the day before that, those same authorities seized, brace yourselves for this, 250,000 of just the regular old fentanyl pills, 11 pounds of heroin, and 10 pounds of meth. Now, a few days before that, these numbers boggling the mind yet, 70,000 fentanyl pills. In 1 week, at the end of July, that number was 1.1 million with an M, mama. Now, these rainbow fentanyl pills have cropped up in Oregon as well. That's Oregon. That ain't on the border. But let's go back to D.C. for a moment. If you'll recall, we've been shipping a lot of the illegals who cross the Texas border up to D.C. because the federal government has otherwise hamstrung much of our ability to deal with the border crisis. And if you ever doubted that there was a border crisis before, take a look at what's happening right now. Now, I can't prove to you that these illegals brought the stuff into Washington, D.C. the way I can prove it about Arizona, but I'd say, there's a pretty good indication that maybe there was some stuff shoved up their ass. Now, folks, I'm sure the well-informed among you already knows this, but just for those of you who don't, it takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl. 2 milligrams of fentanyl. That's about the weight of a few grains of salt to be a fatal overdose. Now, you know what that means? It means that drug lords from the South are dumping poison into our country at an unprecedented rate. People die from this shit in droves every day. Hell, we're killing a ton of people with it legally here, but we don't have anything even close to approximating a corner on the death market right now. Listen, you can have a wide range of opinions on the legality of drug use in the United States. If you lean more libertarian, you might even be in favor of something like fentanyl being legal to use. But what you hopefully wouldn't argue is that a directed and obvious attempt to disseminate it throughout the country to children in a package that they're not going to have the intellectual wherewithal to resist is somehow an okay thing. Now, do you remember a few years ago when the media practically crucified Donald Trump for having the racist temerity to point out that one of the main reasons we should build a wall was that Mexico was sending us, its rapists and drug dealers? Oh, God forbid. I can't believe he said that. Now, I wonder what those establishment talking heads are thinking today, because I'm guessing it isn't the phrase, guess we got that one wrong. So let me close this thought with all of this. Again, sorry for the paucity of the humor this time around. Don't worry, we'll get back to dick jokes tomorrow. But let me close with this. Please structure your response to this kind of thing from the ground up. If you got young children, now is the time to be sitting down with them and having a very serious conversation of the old don't take candy from strangers talk. They need to know how serious this is and how serious you are about them not ending up another tragic statistic in the left's war against common sense. So that's the first thing. Before you even consider the political aspect of this or the practical one, please make time to work this out with your kids. Now, once that's done, it's time to call some people on the carpet. November's coming, and I think it's incredibly important that stories like this not get buried in the news cycle. It's time to hold some politicians accountable for the mess they've made of things on the border, and it's time to hold other politicians accountable for not fighting harder. I'm sick of stories like this. They make me physically ill to think about, as I'm sure they do you. God bless you. Now, go keep your kids safe.